Frieren makes it all about those detours. Some episodes feel like they can take an hour, and some feel like they can take 5 minutes. And I mean this in the best way, all the way, and you just have a girl that is disconnected from the world around her.
She's just a girl.
You nasty.
Talk about, I said, your man behind the cam director, here with another Gigguk reaction. Frieren changed me for the better. If I'm being honest, it honestly changed me for the better too. To be honest with you, Frieren is not the type of show that me naturally as an anime watcher, I ever would have explored or went out of my way to watch. Even if I heard the streets talking about it, I might have seen them and be like, what are we doing here? But being in the reaction space and hearing the streets talk about it, of course, you know, on YBR channel, we jumped on it. And I am so immensely happy. Gigguk's gonna talk about how it changed him. I don't know how he's going, how it changed him, but how it changed me is, you would think after all these years, after all the anime I've seen and reacted to, I would already have a more open mind when it comes to watching anime on my own time, right? Or even what mangas I would be interested to possibly look into. But it really wasn't until Frieren I really accepted. I'm like, yo, there's just some heat that's out there that nobody talks about, what you guys call underrated, that it's like, yeah, it can truly come to the forefront. But what it also taught me is that if it's as great as Frieren is, I'm gonna hear about it. And Frieren is a very good example of something that doesn't quite have its niche. It's fantasy, right? It's just a fantasy anime from my understanding, but the depiction and the way the story is told is amazing. It's very unique. This is the most unique take I've ever seen on what a long lifespan has on a species. This is what I always imagine, like, you know, they talk about elves live thousands of years, but the way it's depicted here is absolutely phenomenal. And if you haven't watched Frieren, because you know you only like shonen or you only like isekai, yo, drop all that, go watch Frieren. Anyways, we're here to talk about Gigguk. Let's see what his take is on it, how it changed him. That's just a little way that it changed me. There's so many other dope things in the show, so many other dope things, awesome story, but like when I talk about like the impact Frieren truly had, that's what it had on me, and I'm interested to see what impact it had on Gigguk. So we're gonna jump right into it. If you made this fun, y'all right, drop like, sub, all things, all that below. Comment down below. Did Frieren change you in any way? Is there anything that you really watched and took away from this that really changed your thinking or your perception? Comment that down below. Reaction starts now.
Time is a precious commodity that every one of us takes for granted.
Facts.
Time is something we never truly appreciate until it's already gone.
Facts.
Time is a really cheesy way to start off this video. I'm sorry. I know, like 10%
It kind of
you are
is.
on the toilet right now, just looking for a way to poop. And another 20% of you are probably having lunch when I said that line. Frieren is one of the most popular anime currently airing and is on most people's shortlist for one of the best shows that started airing last year.
Yes.
The story of a functionally immortal elf girl who truly regretted the time she didn't cherish with the people she was with and has to come to terms with what the passage of time means for her. And it's this emotional crux that almost every video I've seen talking about the show hones in on. Even though someone like her possesses more time than any of us will ever come close to having, it can pass her by just as quickly if she's not
He already did one.
But as the series has gone on and I've gotten to experience more of the story, past even what I had initially read in the manga, I really think this just scratches the surface of what Frieren has to offer and the tale it is evolving into. That alone would not have been enough to keep its throne as the top-rated anime of all time for so long.
Whoa.
That alone would not have been enough to
I didn't know
start
that.
a cultural phenomenon here in Japan. That alone would not have taken one of the most poignant, emotional series to come out in years and had every single aspect of it looted by so many.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Whoa. Oh my God. These are amazing. I didn't see some of these. Frieren, what are you doing with your leg up, girl? Oh boy.
All time for so long. That alone would not have been enough to start its own cultural phenomenon here in Japan. That alone would not have taken one of the most poignant, emotional series to come
Yes,
out
I'm gonna
in
pause
years
again.
and
Shut your mouth.
every single aspect of it looted by so many god.
I've seen this. Haven't seen this one. Haven't seen that one. Ubel, win.
Damn talented fan artist.
Talented. This is the one. With the leg up, boy, I'll tell you what. Yo, they really like Ubel out here.
This was meant to be an emotional show. That was not a complaint. I don't
No,
think I fully did the series
not at
justice
all.
in the video I made 2 years ago, so I wanted to revisit Frieren, because now that the anime is coming to an end, I've seen it evolve from a series with a unique concept and a hard-hitting beginning to an all-around masterclass in the fantasy genre that seems to be doing just about everything. A proper old-school fantasy adventure, lessons that hit deep, emotional moments, romance, the bloody tuning exams. This show is doing it all, tying it all back to that one thing: time. Because it is time. Coming into the Frieren anime, I already knew how hard the beginning episodes were going to hit from my experience with the manga. It gave us an interesting perspective of how time moves through the eyes of a long-life being and hit like a truck looking for its next isekai protagonist.
No!
The big, humongous, Frieren burger-sized question mark was, where do we go from here? Having the story start at the end of another story is a cool idea, but how do you make that interesting in the long run? I've seen plenty of series that have presented this really cool concept, said what it needed to in the opening episode, and then failed to capture the emotional peak we saw at the beginning, which caused me to make sweeping statements like, I don't think it's the best show of all time. No. I don't even think it's the best show of the year. I would argue that it might not even be the best show of the season.
Damn.
This channel will know that I am never wrong, except when I am absolutely wrong. So let's find just how wrong I was.
At least he knows. At least he knows.
Effect on me. Where the prologue was so good in its own bubble, I forgot that was what it was meant to be.
A prologue.
A story that gives us the introductory baseline for the real oversized meat plate of the story to come.
Yo, the hamburger is amazing.
Comically large portions of food. But the question remains, where do you take a story that takes place in a world where the main story has already ended? There's this one masterclass where Aaron Sorkin, the writer of A Few Good Men, Social Network, West Wing, talks about
intention and obstacle.
Characters need an intention, a goal they have to achieve that can't just be a small want, but a strong need. We need to defeat the demon lords or the world will end. I need to invent the nuclear bomb or the Soviets will do it first and the world will end.
The world is gonna end.
I need to find a girlfriend before the year ends or I won't have anyone to go to prom with. And the world will end.
There it
is.
is.
The need for this intention, the better. And to counteract that, you have the obstacle, the thing that prevents the character from achieving what they need to. An impossibly powerful final villain, a time limit to build something that's never been built before, a man that has infinitely negative riz. The harder the obstacle is to overcome, the more compelling that journey will be. Break down a lot of TV series and movies to its basic core components, and you'll probably see this framework in action.
Ooh, Dune,
Watching
good time on
Frieren
that.
made me realize that barely any of this applies to her journey. She has a vague intention, retracing her old steps to reach this mythical place that may or may not exist so she can say goodbye to her old party, but it's not something she needs to do. The world's not going to end if she doesn't, and she can still go about her life if she fails. There are some obstacles, a snowstorm that stops their travel for a month, a
lot of
qualification
obstacles
she doesn't have in order to pass to a new area, but it's never something you think she can't overcome, and what that means is that instead of obstacles on the journey, you have stops. A lot of stops.
A lot of stops.
It's not even a journey anymore. It's a fucking London bus route. If you've ever watched the show and felt like the pacing was off, or what you're watching feels like, for lack of a better term,
don't you say?
Most of the time it's probably because the series has spent too much time on a detour that deals with a certain obstacle or something and not progressing towards that final intentional goal. But by admitting any goal that feels immediately urgent, Frieren makes it all about those detours. Some episodes feel like they can take an hour, and some feel like they can take 5 minutes. And I mean this in the best way because it always engages you in a different way. You never question whether you're spending too much or too little time in a certain place or a certain side story, and it allows you to just get fully absorbed in the moment. And it's in the
best part, every single thing, every single step, every single side story adds on to just the basic like growth of every single character. I don't think Frieren to this moment has wasted a single episode or a single moment. I feel that way. Some will disagree. I feel like it's done a very good job of even the thing that felt like the most insignificant in an episode, watch it to either pop up in a growth-wise, whether it's Stark realizing that he's strong, Sugoi, right? Or whether it's them is realizing, Stark and Vern realizing they kind of like each other. It's beautiful, man.
Moments that the show wants to keep you. This show is all about living in the present, appreciating the time as it is now instead of regretting the past or being blinded by the future. And what drives this message home so strongly is the characters. Frieren's whole spiel is that she's this long-living elf that doesn't really care about what's going on because whatever happens will have a minuscule effect on her overall life, but strip that all away and you just have a girl that is disconnected from the world around her.
She's just a girl.
Is reminiscent to the character trope I probably despise the most in anime. The kudere. You've seen the one.
Kudere?
It's the characters that talk like this. Hello. What up?
Oh, my best girl I is a kudere?
I have the personality of wet cement. I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that can relate to some way of having a calm personality that gets perceived as being stoic, but all too often, instead of feeling like a human, these characters feel like an android devoid of all emotions. Fuck, a lot of kuderes are literally androids devoid of all emotions. And as someone who's introverted and is perceived by a lot of my friends as someone who stays calm.
Wait, so...
What? What?
Most of the time, there is nothing I can attach to with these characters. The difference with Frieren is that she clearly has emotions. She gets happy, annoyed, sad, and regretful in her own way. She's not emotionless, she's just emotionally distant, which makes absolute sense for the lifespan she has. It's not about her learning what emotions are and feeling things for the first time. It's about her learning why it's important to value those moments when you do, and being more mindful about the emotions the people around you have. And you don't need to be some immortal
I like that
god
part.
to be able to relate to that. One of the early scenes.
Be more mindful of the emotions of those around you. I'm assuming you already seen Frieren. The reason why that's so important, there's multiple times where like they tell Frieren, oh yeah, if we do something, it's gonna take X, Y amount of months or X, Y amount of years. And she's like, okay, cool, let's do it. I've been wanting to do some research anyways. Because she's, what Gigguk said, functionally immortal. Meaning like her passage of time is nothing to ours. So while like a 3-year detour for Frieren is like, I don't know, 3 days, right? That's 3 years for Stark. That's 3 years for Vern. That's 3 years for Sign when he's around. Like, when you know that, like, let's say back then their average lifespan was like, what, like 68 or something? And hypothetically, just shooting in the dark, pow, right? 3 years is like, that's almost like goddamn 5%. Don't quote me on math. But for her, it's nothing. We're talking 0.000001. It's like buying $1 of Bitcoin right now. That's what 3 years is to Frieren. It's insane. They do a very good job with that. An absolute amazing job with it.
That really hit me was when Frieren had a flashback of a party devastated they'd missed this sunrise, and she's like, why the hell do you all care? It's just a bloody sunrise. But then, decades later, she has the opportunity to experience that same sunrise with Vern, who miraculously somehow was able to drag her out of bed to see what all the hubbub was about. And then they do. And it's beautiful. And Frieren's still like, yeah, it's just a fucking sunrise, isn't it? But then she enjoying the experience. Not because she suddenly got some newfound appreciation of this sunrise, but because she got to share the moment with the people around her that do. And oh, god damn if this isn't so real. The amount of times I've gone and done something I never would have myself because I've had some mates fucking drag me out when I'd rather be doing nothing but staying inside playing some dumbass video games. And then it turns out that it's these moments that we still talk about and remember fondly when we hang out. Hey, remember that time when we decided to go camping and there was a thunderstorm and it was wet and everyone was fucking miserable, and then Russell ripped the fattest fucking fart of his life that overpowered the sound of the thunder, and I swear to God reverberated the entire bloody tent.
That's exactly what it is, man.
Right, but beyond Frieren,
that's exactly how it is.
Two people who are not impossibly old like Frieren is still have their own troubles dealing with human emotions for the opposite reason. Because they're the fucking Zoomers of the world.
Zoomers.
Whatever that equivalent is. You can tell they lack emotional maturity in dealing with other people. Like, for example, instead of communicating her anger and frustrations in a healthy way, Vern just bottles it all up and leaves everyone else to figure out what's bothering her, which she expresses in the most adorable bloody pout face possible. All right, I'm just saying, if I was there, I'd definitely make the situation 10 times worse, because I just want to look at her puffy little cheeks and go, booga, 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 is someone mad today? Yeah, maybe less mature than they are. But it's
me too, because I was like,
that we get one of the best romance subplots I've seen in a very long time. I did not get into this type of show for any kind of romance, nor did I expect it to have one, as the fan I was telling me otherwise. And I just want to gush about it a bit. When I see romance in anime, especially if it's some kind of romance subplot in a wider story, I often feel like it was just an afterthought, and a lot of times can feel really clunky and inorganic. Characters will go about their business for like dozens of episodes with no indication there's any romantic feelings, sometimes having negative chemistry.
Oh my
the
god.
series to suddenly sprinkle in this random scene that the girl realizes she has feelings for the protagonist, and it doesn't seem like that friendship kind of feeling, but the feeling she might just want him to canoodle that poodle, if you know what I'm saying.
Damn, looking at you, my hero.
I guess it makes sense. It's
Sucker.
reasons like this that a fan base can have debates and arguments on who they ship with who, what two people they want to end up together. Because in reality, any of these couples could work because the story has not done the groundwork to properly set any of them up.
Equally shit.
But this blossoming relationship into its storyline that feels so natural. Right from the beginning, you can see that there are no mutual feelings. In fact, the two struggle with understanding each other while they are adventuring. But as they spend more time together, you can see them slowly but surely start to understand, accept their small quirks, get comfortable around the other person, and most importantly, actually have banter and some chemistry with one another. Like everything else it does, the series actually takes its time to lay the crumbs down and let you see their relationship develop, leading to this dance scene that had me screaming like a 15-year-old girl who's about to publish her first Wattpad fanfiction.
Stop.
Through the pure visual storytelling,
Not the fanfic.
expressions, you can see the exact moment Vern's view towards Stark shifts from a companion to a crush. The way her facial expression changes from nervousness to comfort to finally happiness. You don't need 2 pages of internal dialogue to spell out exactly what she was feeling. This is the kind of shit you normally only get to see conveyed in a live action film with real actors, and it's executed so goddamn beautifully.
He
No
cares
matter
so
what Frieren
much.
tries, this show just does not seem to miss.
Yeah!
How hard the series goes in its action.
And it has action! Oh, he just did this.
Right now, we're going through a bloody tune-in exam arc, and when that got introduced,
Yeah,
I
the
was
tuning
like,
exam
huh,
arc is fun.
is that the right vibe to go for here? And yet, even in this action-intensive arc, it never feels
He
like it
questioned
forgets its
it.
identity. Even with all these new characters being added, it feels like they all have something distinctive to say that ties back to the learning experience our party is going through. There is so much more I could talk about. The world building, the magic system, Evan Cole's godly soundtrack, the absolute coldest moment we got to see last year. But what I want to end this on is Himmel, who is aptly named. Because he's just him. Even though his character essentially only exists in flashbacks outside of the beginning, you can feel his influence in every action that Frieren takes, every lesson she learns, every time she grows as a character. And I think what makes him such a great character
That's why he was
is that
him.
he just feels like a dude. Himmel
He was
epitomizes
just
what
a
true
dude.
hero should be. Not because he saved the world or defeated the Demon Lord, he's just a guy who tries his best to leave a positive influence wherever he goes. He's the friend we all want, the role model we want to be. He's charming, he's charismatic. He is the embodiment of everything the story tries to remind you of. I don't think it's a coincidence. This story has hit so hard for so many of us and become the mega hit that it has. This came out in a time when I don't think we've ever been more connected, yet distant to the people around us. We're so overstimulated day to day, constantly being barraged with informations and things you should care about. It sometimes feels like you don't want to care about anything, or at least you're exhausted about doing so. So seeing someone as emotionally distant as Frieren learning to appreciate and understand the people around her is such a powerful reminder of what we should be valuing in our own lives. Frieren doesn't preach anything we don't already know. It's about the journey, not the destination. You shouldn't take for granted the time you're given. We've heard these so many times in our lives that they can turn into cliches in our heads and forget how true and valuable these lessons are.
Nah, Himmel was really that guy, bro.
Hey y'all.
That was Gigguk's Frieren, right? He hit every nail on the head, bro. He literally couldn't say it better than I could say it myself. If anything, I lacked the I like the vocabulary to even dictate how much more advanced he is at telling my feelings than I can right now. Even now, I just fumbled it once again. Oh man, you know what really hit me? When he said how everything feels overwhelming, and sometimes it's, you know, you're supposed to care about certain things, but you're supposed to care about so much that you just don't want to care about anything at all. I felt that. And even how the story goes is like, it's not about the journey, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And you're right, it's cliche as all hell. Cliche as fuck. Oh my God, who hasn't said that 900 times? But sometimes it's so true. I even give a real life example. I want to get this channel to 10K. I wanted to get 10K so bad. I've been working at it for years and years and years, to the point where I did forsake a lot of things in life, relationships, family, friends, stuff like that. But I realized at a certain point, I was like, it's just too much. I missed those connections. I needed those little reprieves, those little breaks, because believe it or not, hanging out with my friends, going on trips, seeing my family, a lot of times that's what gives me an inspiration to even be who I am. Because if I was just all videos, all work, all the time, I wouldn't be taking in other stimuli to give me other experiences that be able to dictate my emotions and my words, or even have interesting stories, or even have the channel canon jokes that even pop up. It all plays a part into who you fundamentally are. So a lot of times there's things that we don't want to do. There's places we don't want to go. There's experiences you kind of feel like you don't need or you want to go to, but you should do those anyways, because just like the story Gigguk told, it could be a terrible trip. You could have a horrible travel time, but inevitably something good's gonna happen in the midst of all that. And guess what? In life, whether your life is shit or not, there's gonna be those moments where there's gonna be good moments and you're gonna remember those good moments. But if you don't even go out and explore to do them, like Frieren, you're just never gonna feel it, man. Yeah. It's a fantastic video. Fantastic video. I'm not gonna lie, Frieren put me in my feelings a couple times. Watching this video almost put me in my feelings a couple times. It's just so beautifully written. It's so beautifully written. Yeah. There's just so many moments. And again, my favorite part about Frieren: 1, unique story. 2, nothing feels like an ass pull. Everything that happens and that occurs, he said breadcrumbs. You can literally track back to where it was inserted, that you should have seen this coming, or you could have predicted it. Or it's not like, wait, where did that come from? It was written, for it was told. There's something just so special about being able to do that. There's something so special about being able to do that. Even in the tuning arc, there's this one character who's talking mad shit, and he enters the exam area, leaves everybody behind, right? You kind of forget about him, and then as they're showing where everybody's at, there's a moment where you see him, and he is suffering. He is suffering because he was walking, and he goes, oh, I'm greater than now. And then we never see him again. And he was a perfect depiction of, yeah, you know, this test has a point and you missed the whole point of the test, and this is what you got. Fucking fantastic stuff. I'm gonna end this video here. I want you guys to comment down below, what has been your favorite moment from Frieren? If you already commented where I told you in the intro, good. Now go back and do another comment. Tell me, what's your favorite moment of Frieren? What was the moment you were watching this show and you were like, oh my God, this is it. This is that shit I've been looking for. You know what the best part is? We don't even have to talk about the action in the show. We don't even have to talk about the action. Everything else is just so beautifully done. The action comes as after fact. Do I like the action? Oh, absolutely. Is it beautifully animated? You're goddamn right. Could I watch the show without it? Yeah. Honestly, yes. I'm not gonna lie and say that the action isn't really, like, it didn't grab me deeper, you know, like when you get in your shawty and she put her arms around your neck, legs around your body, she pull you. That's what the action did for me. I was already in there. I was already getting mines. And then the action was like, yeah, you getting it, but now you staying. You're here, anchor baby. Anyways, we're gonna end this one here. If you made this far and you haven't already, make sure you comment the stuff I told you to comment. Go to Gigguk's video, show him mad love over there. Let him know DN's on it. We on and popping. I'm gonna remember behind the camera as always. Never, ever forget. Stay nasty, y'all. You wanna go? Oh, right, I'm really fucking shaking, bro.